Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. So in this one I'm doing the ears. We'll see if I get something else in this video too. I have a feeling it's going to take me a little while to make both of them now. So this is the only part of my costume where I bought a pattern that I did not make. Everything else and the rest of it I will make too will all be patterns I make from scratch. This is a pattern for long elf ears, or night elf ears in my case. By Kamui Cosplay, I think that's how you say her name. I will link this in the description. It is 7 pieces, and I need 2 ears, so I have to do this twice. So I do this side up, and then I'll flip them over and do it again. I've already done that though. So one ear will be labeled A and the other one's labeled B. So that means I have 14 pieces here ready to be cut out. She does have these little lines here to tell you how to cut them and such. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along those lines now and trace them to give me a better guide of how to cut it. So that's what I'll do now. Also, welcome back to this video. This is part 9 of my series of making this Ashamane cosplay. So this is going to be just the ears, making them up until the point that they're ready to plasti dip. I do plasti dip them off camera, and I am waiting to paint them until later. I'm going to need to match them to body paint. I haven't gotten body paint yet, so I'm holding off on painting them for now. So here I'm just cutting them out. Some of these, like I was saying, it kind of tells you, has guides on how to cut them. It's for beveled edges, so you might be leaning 45 degrees one way or the other way to get those kind of just beveled edges. And then so that's what I was cutting earlier, and now I'm sanding, so all I'm doing really is rounding out those beveled edges. They leave kind of a sharp edge to them still, so I'm just kind of rounding them out, and then I go ahead and round them a little extra just because that's how I wanted to do them. But for the most part you really just need to get rid of the edges. But I'm still very new to doing beveled edges, so mine didn't turn out very neat, so I had a lot of sanding to do. I decided I wanted to sand pretty much everything, at least all the detail pieces, before gluing things together, and then I do more the last bit of sanding after everything's put together. I just felt like that'd be easier for me, especially since I still don't have that part for my snakes. I have the bulky Dremel itself, not the skinny snake attachment that you can use for this, which would be very helpful. But I think I accidentally threw away the adapter piece thing, so I have to order another one. Yeah, so this works fine. You can always sand things and then glue them together. Personally, I have a better time doing that anyway, so. And I did relabel things, at least these little pieces here, on the back sides, because then I started mixing them up what went where. Because they do kind of start to look the same, especially the last 3 pieces. And then I use the heat gun to help get that curved shape again, and then also to kind of just heat seal these pieces as well, and kind of help smooth them out a little bit. And then, like everything else, I'm using contact cement. I went to make a little guide I marked with a Sharpie, a silver Sharpie, to show where my items, the little details, would be glued onto, so I wasn't going to glue too far over. So yeah, I use weldwood, which is kind of like your second best option. Barge would be the best, but this is what I can find locally. So yeah, pretty much with this stuff all you have to do is you let it sit on there for a few minutes, usually about 10 minutes or so, but you want to just touch it and see if it's tacky still, because if it is tacky, it's not ready to use yet. You want it to be pretty much dry, but you don't want to wait too long either. So I usually set a timer and then I'll touch it to see if it's tacky or not. If it is, then I give it a little longer till it's not tacky anymore. And then you just push the pieces together. And here I'm using a popsicle stick to put, pretty much I use that for everything, to put the glue where I want it. And I did mark out again where I wanted these pieces to go first before doing this, so I do have little lines on here, I just can't really see them on the camera too much, to help me line things up. And like I said, now that everything's glued, I'm going to go ahead and round off those edges, and then they'll be ready to finish heat sealing and do plasti dip with. And if you're ready to see some painting, the next part, part 10, is when I'm going to start painting. Part 10 and part 11 I'll be painting. So it'll be fun to see something different. I'll be painting armor pieces, not the ears yet. I still have a little while before I do that. So that said, this is part 9. Part 10, I am painting the half mask for this cosplay, and then in part 11, which I'm about to record, I haven't started yet, but I am painting both, I'm painting one bracer. I've already painted one to kind of get my technique down, decide how I want to do it, and then I'm going to record painting the second one. So here is the ear all sanded and heat sealed and glued together. I do the same exact thing for the other ear, I just have the pieces flipped so that it's curving in the opposite direction. How ears do, so here I'm kind of showing close up on how those edges all look. Like I said, the pattern for this was by Kamui Cosplay. I will have a link in the description below. So you can buy her patterns or books on how to do cosplay and such. I haven't had her books. I heard they're really good. I'm looking into getting those possibly in the future, especially the LED ones. But her website is kamuicosplay.com, and I'll have a link in below. Here's some more close-ups. This is after I had done Plasti Dip. I didn't record that, but you spray it on. There's a lot of how-tos on that online. And here's the bracers at that point, and then I also had the mask at this point before I started painting. So I just kind of show all the pieces that were ready to paint at this point. So next up is that mask though. We want to paint it to look like metal, and then after that, in the following part, we'll be painting the bracers that look pretty similar to in-game. So thank you so much for watching.